is their hardness, which means how well they resist being scratched by a harder mineral. So what we're going to do is go through and show you the steps that we would take to show hardness for the minerals. This is talc. This is listed as number 1 on your list. With talc, it's one of the softest minerals, and if you notice that even my fingernail will leave a scratch on it.
Yep.
This is number 2. It's called selenite. It is also a very soft mineral, and so we can also show that it will scratch with a fingernail. This is called calcite. It's number 3 on your list. This one we can try with a fingernail, but it really is too hard for my fingernail to leave a scratch. So for the next step, we would try a penny, which is made of copper, and we'll find that if we press hard enough, you see it leaves a scratch mark. Fluorite is going to be a little harder than the calcite. This time the penny is not going to scratch it, but if we take the fluorite, we can scratch the penny. So you see, can you see the scratch?
Yes.
Right there.
Now we see it. Okay.
Okay. So that means that fluorite is harder than the copper. Then we can also, but we can find something that's harder than the fluorite. If we use a blade, a metal blade, we can actually then scratch the fluorite. So it takes this is going to be harder than the fluorite is because the blade scratches. Okay, we're getting a little bit harder. This is called apatite. This is number 5 on the list. We're going to find that the blade will also scratch it. Now this one's a little bit harder to see. The great blade will scratch it.
Yeah, you can see it.
But it's harder. It's harder for me to scratch it with the blade. So that's because this is harder than the fluorite that we scratched before that was a little bit easier to scratch. So we're getting harder each time. This is number 6. It's called feldspar. This time, where we were able to scratch the others with the blade, this one is not going to scratch with the blade. If I press down, if even pressing down on it, I can't get it to scratch. So that means this is harder than the blade. But if I take a piece of glass, the feldspar can scratch the glass. The blade is cutting it there. Let me go ahead again.
Yeah, you can see that really well.
Okay, so the feldspar is harder than the piece of glass. This is number 7. It's quartz. And this one is also going to be harder than the glass, but it should scratch the glass a little bit easier because it is harder. Let's see if it does. Very definitely cuts through the glass much easier than the feldspar did. Where we had quartz before, this is number 8. This is topaz. So as the numbers get higher, we're getting harder. So now we're going to take the topaz and see that to prove that it's harder, it will scratch this quartz. But it's a little bit harder to get them to scratch as we get harder and harder. This one doesn't want to leave. Okay, are we seeing anything?
Not really. Yeah, there it is.
Okay, right there. As we get harder, then they are harder. And so we're not going to get as easily a scratch as we did before. Number 8 again was the topaz. Number 9 is called corundum. Corundum is one of the hardest minerals that we have. And we're going to see that it does a pretty good job on scratching the topaz. You see it?
Yeah, I got out of focus. Give it a second. There it goes.
Okay, so then the scratch is right there.
Okay.
All right. Once again, 9 was corundum. Number 10, you'll notice that if you see anything if we look at the kit, it's going to say not in the kit for number 10. Number 10 is a diamond. This happens to be in my ring. The diamond is there we talked about in class that diamonds are the hardest. Diamond, if I could get to the diamond, to the edge of it, it would scratch the corundum, because diamond, again, is the hardest mineral that we have. Talk about in your group what can cut or what's going to be able to scratch the diamond. Think about it.